Hello, this is RVA Katana in Richmond, Virginia. We just got a shipment of Cloudhammers in. A lot of them we already had in stock, but we're basically getting multiples of them, so we just wanted to reintroduce them. Basically, our 51 CRV4 collection. And so if you have any questions, let us know. And we are going to go ahead and just talk about them a little bit here, but we'll wait for a few more people to come on. In the meantime, we'll just gab and talk. What do you think, Scott?
I'm pretty impressed. And what I'm really impressed is the price we have these at now. So now we've got basically almost SX105V is almost at 51 CRV prices, which is we've never been able to do.
Yeah, so Cloudhammer developed SX105V, which is a Japanese tool steel. It's a very rigid steel, but still has a bend tolerance of 70 degrees. That is, you could bend it to 70 degrees, but it won't set the bend. It also has excellent edge retention. For the price, this is about the best edge retention you can get. Hey, it's Buddha Mike in the house, and Jill in the house.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hey, and Ryan in the house, like all the usual suspects. So anyway, yeah, so 51 CRV4 is basically just an excellent steel. Cloudhammer developed it for the American market because they knew that we were looking for swords that we could do tameshigiri with, or test cutting with, and also not so much for abusing swords. But we did get some 51 CRV4s for that as well. Hey, it's Cook in the house. Like everyone's like cheers right now. Everyone's just saying, hey, hey, hey. Yeah. So SX105V, these are all through-hardened steels. SX105V can be differentially hardened. It makes a gorgeous hamon. And when that happens, you have a very hard edge with, once again, excellent edge retention. But differential hardening does make a sword less durable. It basically makes it a little more prone to bending. And
you're adding heat into the mix.
Well, it's that when you through-harden a sword, you can really control the heat treatment process of it. Consistently throughout. And so through hardening is very easy to sort of very control things and keep them very durable. Whereas when you differentially harden, you end up with like different things. What is the brown sword right behind him on the rack? Third sword down. That is a Miao Dao. That's behind Scott. That's a Miao Dao. It's a Chinese style sword. They're actually based on Japanese swords that were captured from Japanese pirates in the Ming Dynasty. But yeah, this is a Miao Dao.
Think of this
very
like
big.
A Chinese version of like an
Hey, Gasan. Yeah, it's very similar to an Odachi Nodachi. They were based on Japanese swords. So anyway, yeah, what we have here, and we're going to wait to see if any more people join in, and we'll talk a little bit more. If you guys could do us a huge like and tap the screen a few times and get us some likes. So anyway, yeah, that's that huge one on the back. Let's see. I like that a lot. Thank you. Awesome, lug nut. So let's start with the over here with the 51 CRV4. 51 CRV4 is a German spring steel, and we got about 10 of each of these. We basically cleaned out Cloudhammer of their 51 CRV4 bars of steel, and this one is the Earth Dragon. All the 51 CRV4 have a bohie in them. Yeah, Jill, the regular account still is suspended. It's kind of annoying me.
It's a bummer, right?
Yeah.
These have that legendary Cloudhammer leather wrap, which they're really, really good at.
They do a really good job of that.
You can't move these diamonds. It's like impossible. They do a really, really good job. And it's that like beefier leather. It's not that really thin, strip type stuff.
Cloudhammer leather is very nice leather.
Good transitions. They've improved the transitions, smaller knots, as small as you can get, but they're pretty decent.
With leather, it's kind of hard to get really small knots anyway.
$300 though, you're getting a really good performing sword that you could just cut with on the regular. So these were made for our market for people that actually do cutting. So as far as durability and just fitment, they're really made well to be abused, so to speak.
Yeah, 51 CRV4 being a German spring steel, it is really meant for abuse. It's a bit tougher than 9260. How can I buy one? Go to go to cloudhammerforge.com, Gasan. Cloudhammerforge.com. Interesting, Gasan, that your name is very similar to a very famous Japanese sword school called the Gasan family.
Gasan. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very famous. This is the Black Dragon here. Same thing, it has a bohie, 51 CRV4. With a tight grip, you could use this to practice drawing and sheathing practice, though it is sharp, so you have to be careful. It's not a razor-sharp blade, but it is sharp. We cut bamboo with these blades a lot last year. We didn't do as much bamboo cutting this year, did we?
No. And the thing with spring steel is it has a bend tolerance. So spring steel will bend up to
90 degrees almost.
90 degrees and not set the bend. So as you're learning cutting, or as you're improving your skills or developing your skills, you're not paying for poor cuts with a broken, bent, or chipped blade. And that's why spring steel is just so damn good for people getting into cutting or cutting on the regular that don't have the budget to keep replacing bent and broken steel swords. So this is why these are so great. And at $300, you're getting really, really good leather fitment, really tight handle. As practitioners, you really care about Tsuba, down. Nothing's worse than falling in love with the steel and the handle's wrapped poorly or it unwrapped. So these are just really good for practitioners at $300.
Pierre Kia, how does 51 CRV4 compare to T10? You're talking about two different animals. T10 is usually a differentially hardened steel. They do clay tempering, so it has a very beautiful hamon. Without clay tempering, T10 is not a very good steel for a sword. So you're looking at very different purposes for them. Spring steel is just basically a very practical, durable sword. T10 has a nice mix of aesthetics and also good use, but if you're not a good practitioner, you really risk bending or chipping your blade.
You will bend or chip or break, and we've all done it, a T10 blade. So this is why it's spring steel, for people who actually get into cutting, you're putting the horse in front of the cart by developing proper skills first, and as you get better, then you move on to different more types of steels where they're prettier, they're more costlier, but your skills are there.
Ham Radio, SX105V is pretty gnarly steel. Yeah, the SX105V's main benefit is its rigidity and edge retention. It is not as durable as 51 CRV4, definitely not as durable as S5, but is far more durable than T10. So even when you differentially harden SX105V, it's still more durable than T10, but also more expensive. It also creates a much prettier hamon. How is 1066 tough? I'm not as familiar with 1066 as much as 1060. I would assume with this 1066 that it has a little bit of chromium in there, which makes it vanadium, which makes it durable. So I assume, but I don't know enough about that narrow key.
1060
Yes,
is a good steel, but if you have to understand, a lot of smaller forges they stay in their lane and work with steels that they can work with. Some of the higher end steels, they just don't have the capacity, the wisdom, or the facilities to craft swords of that caliber, so they stick with what they know. So 1060 you see a lot of. It's easy to work with. It'll create a nice hamon, but it's a middle of the road carbon steel. So these are all, even Cloudhammer's spring steel, their lower end steel is still above the high end spring steels you see like 9260 and 65 event. It's still above the highest end spring steel from other vendors. So there's a big difference between what Cloudhammer is doing with their blades.
Kassan, you ask about Damascus, and Damascus is basically a term that people use to describe pattern welding steel, where they use different types of steel and weld them together to create really pretty patterns. Now, the quality really depends on the forge and what steels are being used. Cloudhammer actually has excellent, what they call functional Damascus swords, so there are none in this batch that we came. We do have some here. If you go to cloudhammerforge.com and look for Damascus, we do have Damascus, Cloudhammer Damascus blades. They do a really good job with Damascus. They're right now experimenting with 9255 and I think S6 in Damascus. So combination of a spring steel and
I think their wisdom and applied knowledge from crafting so many Chinese style blades, Dao and Jin, transfers over to a Japanese profile. So they're able to make swords and different types of steels that traditionally you wouldn't see in a katana.
So Perkia asks, is there a difference between T10 forged versus clay tempered on our website? I don't think we have a non-clay tempered T10. All our T10 is differentially hardened, clay tempered. Our katana bendy, yes, especially spring steels. They have a little bit of bend on them. You want to go ahead and just demonstrate, take one of the 51 CRV, not that one, but a 51 CRV4, and just show us the bend in it? Any Halloween pumpkin cutting noodles, or pumpkin cutting videos? No.
Can you see this?
Yeah. So you can see it has a very nice flex. And then you want to bring it back up and show us and see how straight that is. The main thing is that if you have a bad cut, you will probably flex the sword and you don't even realize it until you take it out. It's like, oh, it's bent. And with a clay tempered sword, you will see that. But katana traditionally were not super bendy. Made a tamahagane, they had certain aspects of it, like for example, the iron core steel helped it have a little bit of flex, but it wasn't as nearly as flexible as a spring steel,
These
a modern
modern
spring steel.
steels are a lot more flexible.
This one we just got back in. This is the green bamboo. It is SX105V. Really pretty one. I like that one. That's blue and dragon. Yes, Jill, that's the blue dragon.
And again, these are through-hardened, so it's a mono steel, so it's not going to have that really pretty hamon, but that's the compromise you're making for a modern steel that's used as a workhorse that you're going to cut with on the rig.
Kassan, you want to buy one, then you can check out, if you want these 51 CRV4 or SX105V, go to our cloudhammerforge.com. If you're interested in the T10 sword, T10 is probably about half the price of any of these swords, and they do have pretty hamon, and you can get that from rvakatana.com. If you're looking for a practitioner-grade sword, then really, like a spring steel, through-hardened steels are the way to go. Some people would disagree with me. A lot of people like the hamon because of the hardness of the edge, but yeah. This is the, I think we call this one the Royal Dragon, the purple, because it's royal, though that's not necessarily the case.
What you're cutting, a lot of beginners aren't really cutting bamboo or harder targets or sticking with Goza or
Yeah.
Tatami. So this is right in that wheelhouse.
Yeah. So this is the Sunburst. I think I missed what you said. Which is better, 51 CRV4 SX105E? The question is not which is better, but which is better for what? So SX105V has better edge retention. 51 CRV4 has better bend tolerance and impact resistance.
Is SX105V classified as a spring steel?
No, SX105V is a tool steel.
So that's the difference: tool steel versus a spring steel.
Yeah, so that's the difference, Joshua. Basically, spring steels tend to be more durable in general. SX105V has better edge retention. If you want the best of both worlds, then get SUP 10, but I don't think we have any SUP 10 left right now, except for that giant Odachi. This is, I think we call this the brown chrysanthemums, or maybe the autumn chrysanthemums.
For now, so we name it.
Yeah, well, it is named on our website as autumn chrysanthemums. Let's see. Before the Meiji era of a sword execution, does it actually behead people or get stuck? Well, I think that really depends. That really depends on the skill of the swordsman and the durability of the sword. Love the colors. Thank you. I live in Sweden. You have shop? Yes, we can ship to Sweden.
Yeah, we have shipped to Sweden.
We have shipped to Sweden. It has cleared customs. Hey, Steve in the house.
Hey, Steve. How you doing, buddy?
Love the colors, says SwiftUp. Awesome.
This one's ASAB 88.
Is that the ASAB 88?
Yeah.
I picked up the wrong sword.
The double bowie.
Oh, that's a double bowie ASAB 88. Yeah, the ASAB 88, that's a different type of steel that Cloudhammer excels in. They're actually, Cloudhammer is currently working on ASP 123, which is a powder steel. So it has better hardness than ASAB 88. I'm sorry, same hardness as ASAB 88, but more durable. So I'd be curious.
A lot of forgers prefer powder steel so they can control the carbon content a little more uniformly throughout the blade.
Is the Sakabato real or a joke by the anime? I don't think they really had Sakabato.
There is a reference to one at some point in Japanese history, which is probably where they got the idea from. But it's not very well known. It's not common.
For those of you who don't know, Scott has been practicing Japanese martial arts, traditional Japanese martial arts, for 40 plus years. The shipping cost to Sweden is like about $70 to $75.
Not cheap.
So, Gassan, you really can't get that through our website, but if you go to our website, on rvakatana.com, you can get it, and it'll calculate the shipping for you. But on Cloudhammer Forge, there is no way to order that, so you'd have to talk to me directly. What is the red-handled sword? That is, I think we call this the Blood Dragon.
Blood Dragon?
I think we call it Blood Dragon or something like that.
Yeah, maybe it's the Blood Dragon, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, SX105V.
It is SX105V.
The purple one is also SX105V. These are all $375. So these are budget SX105V. So Cloudhammer did not skip on the heat treatment, so they made a very durable blade. But what they did is they used a different polisher, and so it doesn't have the same polish as the original SX105V. And the other thing is we placed a huge order. So there was his Spanish client. They ordered like 600 swords. We ordered like 85 swords. And so we were able to all get a huge discount on them all.
Let me touch on that, because if you're a practitioner, that's kind of a big deal. There's going to be a compromise somewhere to keep the cost at a certain price, right? So where do we not want to compromise? On the integrity of the blade, on the tightness of the wrap, the handle, the fit and finish. We don't want that. So a logical area to make a compromise is going to be on the polish. Look, a lot of us are going to cut with these. We don't really give a shit as much about a polish as we do about having something that can withstand daily rigorous training, cutting, without the handle wrapping apart. Nothing's worse than falling over the steel and the damn handle unravels. Dragon King does the same thing. They're renowned for their fitment. Where they cut corners is going to be in the polish, but it's logical because people who are buying those swords, I don't want to say don't care about the polish, but it's not the most important thing to them. So for me personally, as a practitioner, I love what they've done here. They've made the compromise at a logical place, but not on the handle and not the steel.
Let's see. Can you go ahead and show that brown one? The brown. Yeah, I think this one's called Autumn Chrysanthemums. I can't remember, but once again, go to Cloudhammer Forge and look up SX105V. It is the same blade profile as all the other ones. It's basically SX105V, the Japanese tool steel.
This tsuba is called a moko. Moko is basically a quince, and it's probably one of the most famous tsuba styles simply because when you're applying your koigichi wo kiryu, the thumb goes right into this little indent. So when you crack the sword from the scabbard, you do not have your thumb on top.
You can tell where exactly
you place on the inside, so you can kind of not even look and just see where that indentation is. And that's why it's just so darn popular. It's my favorite tsuba style as well. But they do a really good job with the furniture.
If
Very
I take
consistent, very nice.
Neruk Pui says, if I take Kendo, it is like samurai practice, with this sword being the self-defense version if used. You know, it's different. I mean, basically, Kendo has certain rules, and so it is limited as to how you can strike versus what you could do with a sword in general when there are no rules. That said, I totally respect Kendo, because if you have someone who's trying to...
It's a fun sport, I think. It's awesome. It is a sport, though, and there are compromises for sport versus
for
reality.
safety.
Yeah, you're cutting at spots that would be covered in armor. So typically, and you have to yell, men, kote do, you have to yell what you're cutting at, but that doesn't take away from it. It's still awesome and fun. And a lot of my students do both. They'll do kendo, iaido, and koryu.
Can you show the purple one again? Somebody wanted to see the purple.
I love the purple ones. They're my favorite.
Are they balanced? Yeah, I think the point of balance is about 3 to 4 inches from the hilt. So
yeah, it's Cloudhammer. So Cloudhammer is very practitioner-oriented. So it's not just like a hunk of steel with a nice handle on it, which there's a lot of that out there on the market, which is why we love Cloudhammer.
None of these, you want to go ahead and swing it around a little bit and show us? None of these have bohi. None of the SX105V have bohi. These are very, very much cutting swords. So you're not going to get a lot of kaze out of them. Yeah. Yeah. Versus the 51 CRV4s, they all have bohi, so you will get kaze off of those. Well, kaze being the whoosh. Let's see if we can hear it. Oh, there you go. So these one have bohi, so you get much more of what's called a kaze. That one looks heavy, red handle. They're all about the same weight. I mean, basically, they're all roughly the same weight. The only difference in them is this tsuba. Some are tsukashi, which has those openings, like this one's a tsukashi tsuba, which will make it a little lighter, but also shift the weight forward a little bit. Some people like to ask which is better, like a more balanced one or not. Balance is good for like quick movement, like if you want to have quick changes. But if you just want to whop the crap out of something, then having a little bit of weight towards the head.
The more weight to the tip is going to be a better cutting weapon than the closer the weight is to your hands, much more agile weapon. So these kind of have that balance.
Yeah, people are always looking for the perfect sword, and they're, I don't know.
It kind of isn't. It's like, what do you want to cut? What's your skill level?
Any Damascus steel? Yes, we do have Damascus steel swords.
I'd be happy to give you a tour of the shop and show you anything you'd like as well.
Yeah.
But any questions on these SX105Vs or 51 CRV Cloudhammers?
What's that one with the red Sagael? You want to go ahead and show it to us? The red Sagael? Yeah.
Yeah, this one's
the black
awesome.
handle red Sagael.
Check this Tsuba out.
This is like the.
Can you see the samurai on it?
Sadly, it's focusing on your face. There we go. Now I have it covering your face. Haha.
That's even
so
better.
that has the samurai. I think we call this one Red Death.
Red Death.
Red Death. But go to cloudhammerforge.com and look up SX105V and you'll see.
And they are using real authentic ray skin. This one they just lacquered it, but it's real ray skin. So Cloudhammer doesn't make any sort of compromises on the quality of the pieces parts.
Yeah, the ray skin, they'll either use ray skin or silk, but they won't use the imitation ray skin.
Yeah.
So all of these, try watermelon cutting, make challenges like someone judging the quality of a cut. Now, watermelon doesn't really, that's not a very tough target at all.
No, as long as you're having fun. I mean, but you have to be careful cutting anything like fruit or stuff. The acidic content will eat a blade very quick. They'll stain a blade. So if you do cut fruit, you got to clean it ASAP.
Yeah, rinse it within
Don't let it sit for 5 minutes.
We've actually had some swords spot from very high chlorine water as well. So yeah. The interesting thing, I was looking at Cloudhammer's site when I got a live notification from us. It says, Jill, what a coincidence. Must be a sign.
Yeah.
Must be a sign, Jill.
Let's have a line, Jill. Jill, I have this awesome purple one with your name on it.
Is Jill a purple? Yeah, Jill does like purple.
I do too. Yeah, it's my jam.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice, though, to have a variety. So you kind of have what speaks to you as well as colors and furniture.
Yeah, I had to get at least 5 of each flavor, and so I went with tsuba, which have generally sold well. So there's a lot of repetition. A lot of the tsuba we have, I choose because they tend to sell well, and so we don't get a lot of unique ones. Purples and blues.
Keep that price very affordable. We don't do this for a living, so we try to get what we can do. We're the only Cloudhammer dealer in the U.S., so if you want Cloudhammer, you have to buy it from us, but we don't do this for a living. It's not our full-time gig, so we want to get people awesome swords at an awesome price. So a lot of people have been asking for these. We bit the bullet and went ahead and over-ordered what we normally do to get some amazing stuff. Just a killer price. We've never had SX105V sub $400 ever.
Yeah.
So this is pretty amazing, $375. If you kind of know what steels are and you know where SX105 tool steel sits, under $400 with a really nice handle and great furniture. I mean, you know how much of a value that is. So we're just happy that we have a lot of practitioners come through here. A lot of my students are looking for something. So they don't want to spend $500. They just don't have that budget. It's 2023. It's post-COVID. So having something that's very affordable that you could beat the crap out of and just train with on the regular is kind of what we've tried to do here. And I think we've done it.
Someone asks how much a stainless steel sword is. Well, we have those from Legacy blades. They are Iaito, which are used for drawing. They are not sharp. You do not want to use a stainless steel blade to cut with or to hit anything with because they are weak. Unless you get an old World War II Japanese naval gunto, those are actually a fairly tough stainless steel sword. They don't have very good edge retention, though.
Stainless are pretty decent for Iaito because they're very low upkeep, very low maintenance.
Yeah, with the Iaito, you touch your blade quite a bit, and so for the regular carbon steel blade, you have to wipe it down pretty quickly. Are there certain buttons on TikTok to get it for free? No.
Oh, we don't have a get free now button that just pops up?
Yeah. How much do they weigh? Roughly 2 pounds out of the scabbard. 2 to 2.5 pounds out of the scabbard. Yeah.
Actually,
let's show. Okay.
Actually, that was a question I personally had. So whoever asked about the weight, thank you so much because that's something I specifically wanted to know. So I take this purple one in the scabbard. It's right at 3 pounds. Outside of the scabbard. Right at 2 pounds. 2 pounds 4. Yeah.
Do you do family discount like for my own family members? No, I make my family pay double.
At least you want to support you.
Exactly. So as for fingerprint, like fingers, let me show you something. This is now our sword model, our store model. This is a Cast Iberia Hanwei, Legacy Blades Mangas, which is a Gladius. And look at that. Somebody touched the blade, and you can still see the fingerprint corrosion there. So that's what happens when you touch the blade. This one, someone touched the blade, they didn't tell us, and so afterwards it left that there. So yes, definitely clean your blades whenever you touch your steel.
Especially the carbon steel, the 1045, 1065, 1095 steels. Boy, you better clean them quick.
I finally figured out this is fingerprints.
Oh, they are fingerprints, yeah.
We should track down who it is.
Frustrating. Yeah, submit it to the police. Run to the FBI database and find out who put their meat hooks on our blades.
Exactly. That is not good to touch up late with the fingertips. Yes, you do not touch your swords after the fact. Or clean it. That's the main thing. Clean it afterwards.
It's the same thing with jerk-offs that put their finger on your monitor. They can't point at something and touch your monitor. Those oils will permanently damage your monitor.
Tell us what you don't like, Scott.
Yeah, I don't like that.
So back in war times when these people clashed with each other, did blood and other human material destroys? The main thing is you cleaned it afterwards. I mean, you can, if you touch a sword, you have, probably 24 hours before it starts doing damage to the polish. The key is that...
It will also act as a glue, and it will glue the actual blade into the scabbard. So
yeah.
It'll be harder to draw when you need to. It's going to be stuck in there.
So the main thing is in Iaito, when you practice drawing practice, you might touch your blade. Some schools have you draw your fingers across the spine of the blade. The key is after you're done practicing, just wipe it down, put some alcohol on it, drink some alcohol if you need to.
Take a swig.
Do you have to wear gloves to use a sword? No, not at all. We don't use gloves. I bought some choji oil to keep my sword in good condition when it comes in. Awesome, Joshua.
Best oil to get, Joshua. Awesome.
It smells so nice too, for real choji oil.
My wife loves it when I clean my swords.
I'm going to be getting some choji oil actually from Japan soon. We're going to start carrying it.
Oh, that'd be great. From Namikawa.
Yep, from Namikawa.
Sweet, yeah.
Yep.
I love the Suba.
You guys, yes, we do know that company. We're not a big fan. Not that we sell some of the same things they do. We have a lot of anime swords and we do sell it, but the thing is that they spread a lot of misinformation. So that's the main thing.
We don't do this for a living to sling blades. As a result, we try to be a little more factual and truthful, educate people.
We love the education aspect of it. We love talking about swords. We have been involved in swords for combined 42 to 43 years, basically 40 for Scott, 2 to 3 for me. So, yeah.
But we deal directly with the forges. We don't buy from middleman or distribution. So there's sort of a difference there between us and some of these others. So John, we both speak Japanese, but John able to speak Mandarin and some Cantonese, right? We're able to talk directly to forges. That's got us some really good relationships, and we've been able to bypass a lot of the other channels. That's how we got a lot of the swords at great prices. There's no middleman. We don't have any markup.
All right, is there anything else? We just talked about the Cloudhammer swords. I tried to buy one from your website, but shipping cost $150. Yeah, Gassan, that probably might be the case because Sweden is is pretty expensive.
Sorry, buddy.
Hola. I don't speak Cantonese. That's about the extent of my Cantonese, plus some fighting words I learned from back in the day when they dubbed movies instead of actually. Yeah. Anyway, this is basically all the Cloudhammers that we got in today.